We dedicate this episode to the late Douglas Daniels. Thank you for everything you did for the Baton twirling world. You are listening to the first ever Baton twirling podcast. This is the Baton Twirling Project. We are on our third episode of the Baton Twirling podcast. Today we have John Mitchell, who is the founder and creator of Twirling to Fight Cancer. To stay up to date with future episodes, make sure you go to batontwirlingproject.com to see how you can subscribe to this podcast through your phone. Thank you for listening. Let's get started. Thank you so much for coming on with me. What is your current role in Baton twirling?
I am a judge, so I'm a MBTA, so National Baton Twirling Association judge, and I'm also a instructor, so I do teach all over the country. And then my other big role that really, to me right now, is why I still even work to stay involved is the director and the founder of Twirling to Fight Cancer.
Awesome. Yes. I think you were one of the first people to really go and do something that was a nonprofit for all of Baton twirling. I really love that.
Thank you.
And so what made you want to start Twirling to Fight Cancer?
So the long and short is my mother. Mm-hmm. So my mother had gotten cancer. It's now been 8 years ago.
Wow.
And we really just got in a slight tizzy, a slight craziness. My friend Burma, Autry, who was a twirling mom at the time, she had her own twirling business called Twirler's Link. We got connected because we'd been friends forever, and her best friend had got diagnosed that same week.
Wow.
And my mother got diagnosed. So we were both like, oh my God, and this is just horrible. And so we went into action, and we ended up realizing, why don't we try to do a t-shirt that's just supporting kind of my mom, but then also the whole cancer effort. And we can just put like the people that knew me when I was a little Johnny Mitchell, because that's what they used to call me when I twirled, Johnny Mitchell, that would probably support me on the back of the shirt, like the Jazz Dolls, the Modernettes, just all my East Coast twirling teams and studios. And that's exactly what happened. We had maybe about 8 groups on the back, and pretty much that prepaid for the shirts, but let them also get on the back of the shirt as a free sponsor. And then it just took off from there, because at Nationals, then everybody was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I want to buy one because my Nana had cancer, my grandma, you know what I mean, my coach. And so that's when I realized, okay, this is bigger than me. And although they're here to support me right now, like this needs to continue. And it just has taken off since then and just been really successful.
Great. That's amazing. And how's your mom doing now?
She's good. We're cancer-free.
Yay!
Yep, she's cancer-free, and now, almost 6 years, because, she got diagnosed in the year after.
Okay,
that was really when you can consider yourself cancer-free. And then the 5-year of taking that Remedex, I believe it's called, which is the pill that most, cancer survivors will take, and she's technically off of that now. Knock on wood, Formica, metal batons, whatever, that it stays that way. So, it's been a really crazy but good journey, technically.
Great. How can twirlers find your organization or donate or promote it?
Well, there's pretty much probably 3 major things right now on how to support. The first one would be just a simple get on Facebook, like the page. It is Twirling to Fight Cancer. So it used to be Twirling for the Cure, but is now currently Twirling to Fight Cancer. And so get on that Facebook page, like it, post stuff if you can, and just get involved with the community. You know what I mean? Let's hear your stories. Maybe you have some relatives that definitely have, survived. Maybe, I even be right now a current twirler, and just really wants to share their wisdom. Go do it. We all support it. Awesome. And then the other way would be to actually wear the T-shirts. Definitely support that way. And I'm going to combine my number 2 with also Caroline's effort.
Yes.
Caroline Carruthers also has the ribbons, which are the hairpiece ribbons that a lot of the colleges and university twirlers, in addition to the high school twirlers, now use during Breast Cancer Awareness Month specifically. Getting that would also be another way. So wearing the product, just getting it out there so that the community that isn't baton twirlers see what we're doing and can really understand why you are doing something more than just wearing rhinestones. And then the last thing would be, which we did last year, which I think really can grow and take it on a national platform bigger than what it already is getting involved with the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure. Last year, we took the initiative to try to get 4 races, and there was one in Vegas, technically one in Ohio, one in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then one in New York. Okay. And our ambassadors, which were Bailey Russell and Kylie Cates, they were to lead those in their cities. And then I led mine in Vegas, because that's where I currently live. And then Jen, my director, ran hers in Pittsburgh. Okay. And what it was is you just literally sign up to run the race, sign up under the name Twirling to Fight Cancer, and then get your members, whether it be 5, 10, 50, to run or walk the race under Twirling to Fight Cancer. So we went to all 50 states. That's now newsworthy. You know what I mean? So that's something really big that we can do. And then anyone can take the initiative on how much they want to involve themselves.
Yeah. That sounds great.
And then since Texas is so big as an example, you've got the Race for the Cure Dallas, you've got the Race for the Cure Austin. So each twirler that's in those communities can do it all on their own. It doesn't have to be John Mitchell has to do anything besides we just ask that you make the team name Twirling to Fight Cancer so that we can really market it from the platform of not only the twirlers doing something for the twirling community under Twirling to Fight Cancer, we're also doing something that might not directly affect us specific, but it affects every person that's going to have breast cancer potentially through the Susan G. Komen Foundation also.
Okay.
So, Twirling to Fight Cancer, get involved or just call me. I guess that's 4.
Text give me a call.
And say, what can I do to help?
Okay. Real quick, I want to take a step back and ask, how did you first get involved with baton twirling and what made you stick with it?
So this is slightly an easy answer because I've answered it many a times. And it's one of those things where my family was a parade family. So we would go to the 4th of July, the Memorial Day parades. We'd go down to my grandmother's house. And technically, my mother's high school band would march in that parade, and her majorette picture was in her room because my grandmother didn't change her room when she left and got married. Yeah. So I could kind of, as a little boy, relate that, that was my mommy's high school band. There was 4 majorettes. Her majorette picture had 4 majorettes in it. So I knew that was like what she did. And then her baton was in my grandmother's umbrella stand. And and so I would play with the baton. And off cuff, and she was the first black majorette in her high school, and then I became the first black twirler at my college. So I would play baton, I'd play parade because I was an only child, but then I wasn't allowed to bring the baton home because it was for girls. So I had to keep it at grandma's house. And so it just was like the forbidden fruit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why can't I twirl? And it just made me want to twirl even more. And then I could watch the kids at the parade, and I could see what they were doing. And then when I would take it home, I could figure it out. So I kind of taught myself for a while.
That's
and then
great.
By the time I got to 6th grade, my mom was like, okay, he's really into this. She just did it for the short skirt and the cute majorette boots. She was like, I did not do it for no national competitions. So I already learned how to do the horizontals and whatnot. So when she did find my coach was a former Miss Majorette of America. She worked at the University of Tennessee. Nancy Jean Dolphy's her name. So she's in the history books. And so she knew how to teach a guy, give me a masculine style, and then the rest was history.
What's some advice that you would give to any male twirlers who are currently learning how to twirl and might be in that spot of, should I continue doing this or should I move on? What do you say to that?
Totally. So that's in the really almost 11, but I would definitely say 12.
Yeah.
11, 12, 13, absolutely 13 is your now high school. And I think the crux comes in whether they can get to competition and technically be good enough to qualify for something big on the national level. I would say definitely hooks them because now they're feeling like they're a national champion and what it makes sense and can justify why they're doing it to the kids who don't want to understand it or want to tease it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I also would say it's going to be critical to just get that role model. I had Harry Brown. So Harry Brown was the real person that I had access to, but my role models that I didn't know were Calvin Murphy. He was a professional basketball player for the Houston Rockets, and he also was a national baton twirling champion and happened to be African American. So Nancy Jean had given me his cover when he was on Drum Major magazine, just to show me that, Johnny, there's somebody that looks like you that does this. And then he twirled for the Steelers. He was an Ohio State drum major.
Oh, okay.
And he then on Sundays would come to Pittsburgh and twirl around the sidelines. And that's where I saw the bounce trick and a lot of the tricks that I did end up knowing and learning how to do. And so he was phenomenal. And those were people, but I never met them. But Harry Brown was someone that I met that could fill me up differently than how my coach filled me up, you know what I mean? And gave me this trick, and why would you do it that way? I need you to be like this, and just talk to me like a guy talks to a guy, you know what I mean? And then the other last person was then, as far as a twirler, my epitome of God of all twirling was Donald Garcia.
Oh, yes.
That was the showman of the showman, the difficulty of the difficulty. There could be nobody better than Donald Garcia as far as I was concerned. You know what I mean? And then it's he would catch his last trick and the whole Notre Dame dome side would go crazy. So, the point and the answer to the question is you've got to still have the role model. So you have to be willing to have the parents in addition to the coach. If the guy twirler or the guy coach isn't close, maybe fly him in. You know what I mean? And get some lessons, and then of course, the young ladies have lessons with them too, but let them experience a male twirler to understand the rhyme to the reason. And then we can talk about what it was like as a male twirler.
Yeah, that's true.
So and even if we can't come, it's so easier now because we can do just this. We can get on a phone, we can talk to them, we can do a lesson with them on the phone. And normally that's going to get them hooked too, because now they're going to want to try to show us what they learned, which will take them 3 or 4 or 5 months into twirling longer when they were about to quit maybe that last week.
Great.
Make them do push-ups. treat it like it's karate, and don't. Okay, you dropped. Well, if they drop kick somebody in the mouth, their sensei is like, "Did you?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that toughness, a little bit, also I would say sometimes can work. Not for all boys, but for some boys.
I know you mentioned a little bit about twirling in college. What was that like for you, and what made you pursue it?
Twirling in college. That was always the dream. And the other dream was always to make twirling known, put it on the national landscape, make it so where it has its respect. But as far as that experience of that college opportunity, it was just like life-changing. I always wanted to twirl for a big school. And twirling in college was great. It was an incredible opportunity. I really do like to share about the college twirling, though, because that sometimes is the epitome of the epitome. That's kind of where our professional outlet, I would say, can kind of happen from all the years of competing. But for us at most of these universities, and I say us, meaning the people that can maybe be as privileged to say we could be a feature twirler or on that majorette line, is running through tunnels when we're coming out for pregame or running out onto the field. However your traditional pregame happens at a college experience, it's just, you just can't explain it unless you've done it. But in trying to explain it, it's just awe-dropping. Like literally, my stadium at Penn State held over 100,000 people. You're in a tunnel, so therefore you can't even see everybody. And then all of a sudden you hear these drums, which is like tap, 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 whistle, 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 whistle. And it's like, oh, it's starting, and we can't stop it. We have to go, and then the band runs out, and then all of a sudden you're at the back of the band. You have to run all the way through the band, and they're yelling your name and announcing it on the big speaker. And so it just becomes all that hard work, all those hours in the gym. It just then makes it all worth it. And everybody has their own little traditions, and it's all different when you watch the schools do their styles and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's still the adrenaline. It's still the school pride that we all understand. So it doesn't matter if it's Texas A&M versus University of Texas. It doesn't matter if it's Pitt versus Penn State or Georgia versus, Florida. Yeah. It's all that same energy of greatness that you're like, I can't believe I'm a part of it. And then there's so few that get to be college twirlers and college feature twirlers and all of that knowing you're one of those, it just becomes a little bit where you're just honored. That's a good word. You just feel honored.
That's good. I always say it's a mark of pride.
Yep. And then when you have your other twirlers and they're not twirling as hard, you're like, I will get out there and I will tear it up. You better do it. You always gotta haze them a little bit as an alumni. And then they go out there and they show you, dude, I can do 6 long arm rolls. How many did you do? You're like, oh, that's nice.
What is something you want people to know about baton twirling?
I think nowadays, besides just them getting how hard it is and how much discipline and dedication it takes, I think it's important for them to realize how much the international market has bought into baton twirling. Because that's a lot of where the convincing that it's actually still viable and it's actually still alive. It's, some of it we have to take off the stigma of 4th of July, and, we may have all been exposed to twirling, especially in the States and the Americas, like of what baton twirling is. But a lot of those other countries internationally, they've just seen it as a sport. And so seeing it as a sport, they've treated it as a sport. And it's not to say we haven't, but there is a pageantry to our style of twirling that we have to own. And it's not that it makes it bad, but it just makes it have a different type of a stigma. And so I really would want us to expose how it's just not only one thing. It's not only something that you see in Miss America. That it's not only something that, you see at a halftime football game. That it can be something that you do actually go and pay for called Cirque du Soleil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
2 baton twirlers are in 2 different types of shows in Cirque du Soleil, and they're there. And one has been there over 10 years. Like that's been her professional career. That would just be one of the things I think I'd really like to get out there also, that it's still here, it's still viable, it's still an incredible sport to watch and extremely challenging, but also there's a huge international market that is also out there that we could really collaborate with and use to expose the sport to the masses.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, you know what? I have a question.
Okay.
How do you feel about men judging modeling?
I hate it. I can do it. and I feel like I do it well. I do think it's important that the young ladies do know how to model and dress, and I get that, and I get the turns, and that there's an absolute technique to it. Now, as a coach, I've had to try to attempt to teach it. You know what I mean? And don't even go there. And so, so I get it. But then at the same time, I think that as a male, we can still get to the nature of what that young girl or young woman is thinking about and what her goals are and what her priorities are. And we can still relate on that. And the gender part doesn't technically matter. But I don't like in 2018 that it's still at times, especially when you see like 60 or even 20 some girls, and you're like, really? Like you're just coming out in front of me, and you know what I mean? And it just can be very superficial.
Okay. Yeah. Good answer.
And I don't like the message it gives to the young girls, especially when they're young, that if we don't get to interview them and they're just there in front of a male, like it already sets the stage. They get ready through the rest of your life. Males are going to judge you on your appearance. So that might be my issue, but still.
I've definitely had a score sheet come back. They're like, more lipstick. And I'm like, oh, don't tell my student that. She's 6.
Yes, exactly.
So every time I get that, I understand that that's what they're looking for. But when they're under the age of even 13, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to tell you you need more makeup on your face. You look great how you are.
You look great how you are. Yeah, that's a good question, though.
Oh, you know what? This one I always like asking. What's the most common question that you get from non-twirlers?
Oh, for me, it's why did I do it? Like, what made you twirl?
Oh, yeah, interesting.
Not why did you do it, what made you twirl? Like, what made you play basketball?
Yeah. How do you answer that?
I get it, you know what I mean? A guy twirler, you know, all that stuff. But that's normally the one that they ask me. I would say the other one would be, oh, twirling still exists?
That. Or, my grandma used to twirl, and you're like, quiet.
Yes.
So, what's next for you in 2019?
2019, we're going to cross our fingers. I'm just putting it out the universe, a television show. Working for 4 years. So we're doing a lot in regard to the pitching and whatnot in the different networks. And so to be coming soon.
Awesome.
With all fingers crossed. Also, really making this Twirling to Fight Cancer something that is now able to step into more of a platform that can handle a national business conversation.
Okay.
Twirling to Fight Cancer is local nonprofit through the business side of the house. So it's an official nonprofit, but it's coming out of Nevada to let me and afford me to do the work. And although it goes national, it can't, and it's not a recognized national nonprofit from the business side of the house, because that takes a whole nother level.
Yeah.
But once we get there, then we'll have Amazon, and we can put Twirling to Fight Cancer on Amazon. We have all those other options, but as sexy and easy as it seems, you've got to really make sure you have that business strong, and I want to make sure of that. Because really, Twirling to Fight Cancer has only been in existence for Baton Twirling as its own nonprofit for 3 years.
Okay.
Although we've been in existence for 8, for it being our own nonprofit, or I should say my own nonprofit, it's been 3. The others have all the money's just gone to Susan G. Komen.
Okay.
And it's just been launched under Susan G. Komen for all of the reasons that I just did. But we can handle it now. Okay. And then we're going to work toward being able to handle it and make it and become a national nonprofit. And then it would be great to definitely have, it looks like we may be partnering with AAU. So that, would be really cool, because there's just going to be new ideas, new thoughts, new opportunities, because, when you have a sports organization that's national like that, it only can help, in my opinion, make a national charitable nonprofit concept that's existed become even bigger. And just need sponsors and all of that. I really feel like that's going to be able to happen. So more to come, you know what I mean? But 2019, I'm like, let's drop the ball.
So tell me, what do you hope for Baton Twirling?
The social media, like I realized from my own discovery of me trying to even pitch myself, like we are very shy, safe, with not also wanting to expose. And I don't think that it just needs to be exposed for exposing purposes, but we have a lot to share. And so we could really become strategic on what we wanted to share. And from the collegiate championships to the Miss Majorette of Americas to the Grand National Champions, just that 3 platform alone, there's nothing done, there's nothing created, there's nothing that makes these titles more than just what I call an empty title. Did it mean something to me personally when I won? Absolutely. So I won't anchor it in just it being an empty title because it did something in my own spirit that no one can give, no matter how much money you might get, no matter how many shows or commercials. There was something just internally from just working hard, dedicating, having focus and having fun, which is my motto for my kids. They have to recite that. No one's perfect, but today I tried to be the best baton twirler I could be through hard work, dedication, focus, and having fun. And that is what it takes for me to be the best that I can be. So that whole motto, though, once you've won, now what do you do with the platform? We prepare our girls to be able to model so well and do interview. Well, where are we making them speak? They're not at a basketball game. They're not at a professional basketball game. They're not at the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders audition boot camps to just say, I'm Miss Major of America. We could just do different things. And we have no real established outlet other than USTA that allows the age limit to not matter. But we have no professional outlet for the athletes either.
I agree. Yeah.
And so instead of talking about the ones that still can do it but happen to be 30 or so, how about say, let's talk about how we can get professional outlets so they can become professional baton twirlers and compete from professional side of the house, and then I can come back and win. So, but you know what I mean? It could be something that's even that, like, let's just think forward. But I guess that would be the hope, that we can just continue to work to think forward and be open to new ideas and support each other. Click on Lainey's thing 50,000 times. Sometimes you click on it, it's like, why are there only 6 hits?
Yeah.
Are we promoting? Are we pushing it? Are we, what I mean? All our college alumni, can we get them involved? Like, what's going on that we're not getting these schools that bleed red and black? Georgia, Florida, Penn State, like these alumni bleed that school. They'll support their majorette squads. Like I said, some of that I'm trying to do, but also some everybody else might be able to do it quicker, faster. I don't have an ego in it that it has to be me. It's just we can be doing it.
The
if
ego.
We just give each other the okay. Like, you know what I mean? And sometimes you just got to give yourself the okay. Joyce Perone, Kay Colin, they didn't give and get an okay from anybody, but they did it. And now it's another competition that's extremely established, extremely respected after 20 years. Who doesn't want to at least go to Twirlmania 1 year out of their twirling career? And many times, even just through my Twirling to Fight Cancer and Twirling for the Cure, 8 years of that, it was a lot of me sometimes remembering, you got to get out of your own way, and you got to quit thinking you're running the show because you founded Twirling to Fight Cancer or Twirling for the Cure. Yeah, you did, but you didn't really find anything. God found it, and he found your mother to be healthy. He found the journey that was to go through that, to then let it be blessed with somebody else. And now we have a moment at Nationals, just one day at least, where everybody gets to come together and really feel good about the week of where it's just been extremely stressful. Job done. I'm done. Like, you know what I mean? What more? But there's more I can do. But if it's just that, I mean, it's got to be also anchored in some type of spiritual awareness, spiritual connection. However you come to the table, but come with something greater and bigger than yourself in life, and then of course within our sport, since we're talking about baton twirling, and then it should be a lot easier.
John, it has been phenomenal speaking with you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. This has been so amazing.
All right.
Cool. Well, thank you. I will talk to you soon.
You're welcome, babe. All right. Have a good one.
You too.
All
Bye.
Right. Bye, y'all.
Thank you again for listening to the Baton Twirling Project podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to be the first notified of future episodes so you can stay up to date with baton twirling news. Make sure to leave us a positive review on iTunes to help us reach more and more people about baton twirling. If you'd like more information about baton twirling in your local area, email us at batontwirlingpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you so much for listening and being here. It means so much to baton twirlers everywhere. We'll catch you next time.